R for recording, Y for yes, and it will not say measure or byte change yet because it simply hasn't been brought back to that spot. It's simply recording where along the line it went. There's no measure, there's no such measure in it because there's nothing lit up. Okay, if there was a highlight on track 1 number up there, then you would know that there's something recorded. Okay, what I'm going to suggest to you right now is, I was going to be a little confusing with everybody working on the same app here a little bit. If you've got a set of headphones, you're lucky. Is just play something in. Make sure you guys have different sounds here. Just put the cursor on record. Make sure it says on. Okay, and then go over to the word play. Hit the cursor there, and just start recording and see what you get. Okay, I'm not worried about scoring right now, so just play right out of the lab or something like that. Sure. There's nothing recorded. Yeah, that's just a point. It doesn't say that you've actually got it. There's no recorded track. You have nothing in there. But now you're playing. Okay, it's just a pointer. It says where you are. Right now you're stopped. If you want to play, you will press that on.
You put 1 or 2 or
Press that on.
anything.
Simply this is a pointer at where you are. You've recorded nothing but empty space. Okay? Move it over to here to say record on. Toggle it on. That's right. Go to play. Now hit play and you will actually be recording. Now you're recording. Okay? Once you've recorded something, press stop. Make sure you press stop on. So now it says play.
Where do you press stop? What do you mean by press stop?
Okay. Have you recorded something? Okay. No, you haven't. Okay. There's nothing in there. Now you'll get it. Okay. Okay. That's because this word here. Okay. Got to clarify that again. If it says play, you are going to ask it to play when you put your cursor on and hit enter, you have told it please play. If it says stop and you put the cursor on it, then you press the enter, it says stop. I'm doing that. I'm going to do what it says when you hit enter. Is that clear? That's the funny thing. It's not hard to think, but once you've thought about it the wrong way. Okay? So what you got to do here now is just hit enter. Okay, let me go back to that here, okay?
If we want to erase what we've done, there you go.
I don't have to go that far yet. I don't care what you do. It's not important as to what it sounds like. Whatever it says, play. That's what you want to do. Okay.
What's the break at measure 1?
The break. That's where you stop. You broke the sequence at that point.
So these bars are changing about it then.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't have a pitch bend on there, so we did that now.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, now what?
Did everybody get something recorded?
Yes, sir.
I didn't record you guys. Let me go back through that now and tell you what's going on and how I use this. I've already mentioned to you explaining channel names, setting up the channel names so that you can do that. The second step in making a recording, however you're going to do it, whether you're sequencing or you're going to be storing this to do the recording process, by setting up this screen. And I'm going to highlight what all of these do in a second, but I wanted to make sure you understood what was happening with that play thing. You also probably saw as you're recording, right beside the word record, the off and the on disappeared and you got numbers. Those are bytes received. And you know, it's not explained in the manual very well, and I've never ever really found them to be much useful to me, except because even after you delete something, sometimes it'll still stay at that point. So it's called a pointer rather than anything else. It's a pointer. Same with the bytes and measure off on the far right-hand side. And more than anything, it's the blue ones here that are actually going to tell you what you have, and this light up here tells you that you recorded something on track 1. Now if you go over here and turn record off and play back, hopefully if you've been on channel 1, the one above it will also light. And let's do that here. Let's move this here to off. Go back here and play. Okay, on yours it's changed color. Color change on here? I want black and white, so yeah, you've got a color change, okay. Okay, so you've got a color change rather than a bar and a highlight, I'm sorry.
No, it means the graphics. It is recording for the purposes of graphics.
All right, take this off. Good job.
Yes.
Okay, this was highlighted.
Oh, that's just about right here.
See, that was highlighted.
I guess it's on unless you want it off.
Okay, Zap recording, please. Z-R-Y.
Where?
Oh, do it again. Okay, watch, be careful there. Z-R.
On record?
Z-R. Yes, there we go. Everything reverts back to where it was pretty well. You still may have a byte and a measure on the side there, but you won't have anything in the other one. It'll say 0 measures, 0 bytes in one of those columns there.
I know.
Okay? That recording, yes. Just a
I
minute.
still have.
Okay, you have that recording.
Yeah, I did.
No, you still have something here.
Yeah, that was I.
Take Y now. That recording, yes. Yeah. Z-R-Y. There you go. See, 0 measures, 0 bytes.
Okay.
Okay, let me explain the numbers, all of the messages down at the bottom of the screen there. Record on and off is a toggle. And by hitting the enter button on it, it turns it on, record, off, record. When you exit the recording screen, please make sure you turn that off. You may get some unrelated results if you end up playing later on and have the record on. Lead in, 4-4, you can change that to whatever you want. If you move your cursor onto it, and I'll tell you what, I'll just sit here for where you are for now, Lorraine, so I can go through this. Lead in, 4-4, at the bottom it says beats per measure, 1 to 32. So you can create any kind of lead in that you want, counting in before it actually starts to record. So you hit, say 3, and then it'll say beat, whole half, 3/4, 3/8, 3/16, 30 seconds, whatever you want. So you can change that to whatever you want. The next one down below that is called track number. You can determine what track it will record to, or it will automatically look for the next free track once you've recorded. So say you've recorded a 5-bar song in track 1, when you go to record again, it'll actually record into track 2. And that's one of the reasons why you may have seen something funny happening up there at the top of the screen as well. It's simply, once you've recorded, unless you specify, it'll go to the next free track. If you start recording on track 5, it will come back to track 1, if track 1 is available, after you've recorded on track 5, unless you've specified otherwise. The next one that says channel, the manual says that you can force MIDI channel. The manual is wrong. It does not do anything. Jim Miller said that that feature would be implemented in later versions. It is not implemented now.
What was that one? I could give it that.
That is the word that says channel. That's the 4th word on the left-hand column. It's supposed to be a MIDI force channel. So you can change MIDI channels while you are playing live. In other words, play on one and hear it coming back out in two as it runs through the computer. But it does not work. Okay, you have to use the bounce screen to do it after you've played. The channel name forcing does not work at all. The next 5 things relate notes, control, program, pressure, and pitch bend, or simply whether that information is what you want to record. If you want to record notes, yes. If you want to record controls like sustain pedal, modulation, then it'll receive them. If you want to receive program changes, if you want to receive pressure changes as to aftertouch, if you want to receive pitch bend, those kinds of information, you would turn those on. They're simple toggles. Turn them on or off as to how well you want to use them. Okay, the next column. Any questions on that column?
So I'm recording notes. Does that mean for graphics or for performance?
That means recording the information from the keyboard that you touched notes on.
And if notes was off,
You would only get sustain pedal or pitch bend or what. It would never record any of this. Because it would.
for whatever reason.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you may actually want to record a channel of just sustain pedal.
That's right. Okay.
Track of sustain pedal, pardon me.
So in other words, you play through it again.
Yes. Physically play on the keyboard
Yeah.
with
your pedal.
with the pedal going
But
while
the
you're.
notes will be ignored.
Yep. And you can still hear back what you were doing. For instance, you may want to play it, just play it side by side and get the feel of the playing because you're not comfortable putting sustain pedal down when your hands are.
Play back what you had previously recorded. You ignore what you're actually doing on the keyboard and record the
Sustain pedal.
sustain on another channel.
Not another track, not another channel.
Yeah, okay.
Same
another
channel.
track. Okay, I get it.
Good.
What
Okay.
What about programming again?
Oh, programs. A program is interchangeable with the word patch or sound number. Program change is the same thing as sound change, patch change. Sound number 1, piano, vibraphone, electric piano, whatever you are. Do all of you know how many of you have HP 3500s, the brand new ones in your school now?
No, we have the same as Al.
Same as the L? Anybody have the HP 3500s, the brand new ones that we just bought this summer?
So, just elementary school.
Only the elementary schools have that? Okay. That's too bad. It's got some nice MIDI features. Okay, play, we've already discussed play as a toggle. When it says, you're going to do it, what it says, okay? Fast on or off, that's simply a double speed. If you want to get to a certain point of the music, but you want to hear where you are to get there, you just fast forward it, and it's like a fast forward play on a cassette. And you get there. Then you have metronome, on or off. Well, I would suggest always putting it on while you're recording. I don't know why the default is off, but... And when you're playing back, you can turn it off if you wish to. Looping, auto stop. Okay, if you've got it on auto stop, it'll stop automatically at the end of the longest segment of what you've recorded. Make sense? Okay, if you change it by hitting the enter, looping on means that the end of the shortest segment of what you recorded will be continually looped back to the beginning. 5-bar drum pattern. Okay, and that's your shortest segment. You press looping on, it'll continue to play that 5-bar drum pattern over and over and over again while you continue to record new measures past the 5th bar.
Does that mean we record the drum pattern along with everything else?
No, the drum pattern will still be only 5 bars. It's just looping that 5 bars.
Is there a way to do that?
In the events editor. Okay. It's copy, basically. Okay. Looping off, it means that it won't loop at all. It'll simply let you run as far as you want to run. Some people prefer to put this looping at off. Some people put it at auto stop. Whatever you're comfortable with. You have to experiment a little bit with that.
That's more for multi-camera, isn't it? When you're on
Yes,
the part.
yes.
You want it always to stop at bar 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get notes going over sometimes for the long run.
That's right. First measure and last measure simply are just defining what the first measure of your piece is going to be. If this is the second movement of a 3-movement piece, second movement starts at bar 75. If you put it at bar 75, then everything will make much more sense when you try and connect them all together later on down the line. And last measure simply is an arbitrary number to say how much room this piece has. If you know that for sure that you're never going to record more than 100 bars in this particular song, drop that down to 100 and the computer saves less memory and takes up a little bit less time to maneuver that music around. Bounce and erase. Those two are interchangeable. They get you to the bounce erase screen. We've already been there. Okay, we're going to ignore the word score for a minute, but obviously you know what it does. It gets us to producing a score. Let's go back up here and take a look quickly at time signature. How did I get there? Time signature, again, it's almost exactly like lead in. You press enter on there, and you can move from 4/4 to 3/4 to 2/4 to 5/4 to 6/4. Welcome to generalized beats. Okay, you can do almost any beat kind of strategy you want, and especially when it gets down into things like quantizing and other things, you can get into some really strange things. Tempo setting, hit the enter button on it, and it says beats per minute, 16 to 238. Tempo markings, whatever you want to work with. Right now, the default will be whatever it was when you moved it. If it says 80, if it says 100, okay? And you can change that to whatever you want to set it at. The next one, MIDI through on, will most normally always be on if you're using a module of any sort. Okay? Your MIDI configuration of MIDI cables normally is going to be keyboard to computer. The signal will continue through on to something else, a module or something like that. If you are running simply computer to keyboard and keyboard to computer, you may want to turn that off so that you don't get a second signal coming through and mucking up the brain of the instrument that you're working with. It's simply a soft loop. Can I use your blackboard, Alice, for half a second? The MIDI signal is coming from the keyboard to the computer. Okay? If there's nothing coming out of the computer, then you have no problem. But if you have a module over here that you're working with, okay, that you want to work with and hear the sound, if the signal does not go through the computer, okay, it won't ever get to the module. So that's why MIDI through is on. Okay? But if you are working strictly without the module, and you are doing this, MIDI out and in, that you want the computer to play back, some instruments don't like to hear from their own keyboard and the computer's brain at the same time. So what ends up happening is you lose polyphony, you get doubling of notes, and things like that. So,
We know about that.
okay, so turn the through off is basically what that represents. Okay? You can either do that or turn the local on and off on your instrument. Sync internal and external. If you're using an external drum machine to control the speed, I know one group of people that use this for their band system, and what the rock band, and what they do is they let the drummer control the speed of the recording. He has a simple TR-505 drum machine that he's running the tempo control on, and he has that sync to here, so he can just turn the dial up and down to match the speed of what everybody's doing. Okay, so that they are listening to the drum machine, okay, and playing in. Now, personal composer doesn't recognize the tempos to play them back that way. Okay, you can't expect it to put that rubato and stuff back in, but it will record. It will record following that speed. Make sense? Yeah.